Welcome to another episode of the GSatTrack How-To series. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to add an asset. In my last video, I discussed adding items as a whole. And now we're going to break it down and show you each individual item. So I'm going to start with add an asset because that should be the first thing that you bring to the portal. You want to view different assets out in the field. So to begin this process, open up your Utilities control panel, then click on Add Item, Add Asset, which will expand our panel out. Now, in a previous video, I did state that editing an asset and adding an asset is the exact same process. From here, what we want to do is we want to put in the name of the asset. Now, this doesn't have to be the IMEI or ESN. It can be whatever you want to name this device. Next, we want to choose the make of the device. So, if we want to choose a Global Star device, we could do that here. If we then wanted to choose their Spot Connect, we could do that. We would put in the ESN or the IMEI or unit type. We've talked about sensitivity before. This is the how often it shows in the same spot. You have the ability then to choose the icon that you want to use for this particular asset, or you can upload your own. You can choose what color you want to use. I strongly suggest staying away from blues or greens because that's what the color of your map. You can also choose what groups an asset will belong to. Of course, we're also going to get into adding a group a little bit down the line, but if you already had pre-generated groups, this is where you would add them. This is where you would choose what users would be able to interact with this device. Any extra information, like general information, SIM information, if it's a device that requires a SIM card, driver information, vehicle information, you can list anything you want here when adding a device. Next, you have the settings. I really don't play with these too much when I'm bringing on a new device. What I do like to do is I like to let a user know that they can mark their device in or out of service. You also can draw lines between positions or snap lines between roads. We've gone through this before in historical views. You also have the ability to go ahead and choose to hide information on your particular asset. And if the asset is connected to a CAN bus or something like a vehicle ECU and it's reading this information, it will be highlighted here. Now you also have I/O mapping, which is something that you can do for devices that are able to connect to sensors. You are able to actually plan out and use GSatTrack to map out what that visual representation of the I/O will be, how it works, and some of the functionality. That's a much more in-depth video, which I will get into at a later time, but right now I just want to show that you do have that functionality here available to you. You also have the ability to select drivers who will be associated with an asset. Now, if we had created any alerts, and we certainly will soon, you would be able to associate that with this particular device. If there was a Garmin screen, you would be able to control that, and as well as contacts. Once that's done, just click Save Configuration, and then the device is added to the portal. Very simple process. And again, as I said in previous videos, the editing of an asset and adding an asset is the exact same process. So if I come over here to Edit Asset, I've got all those things I just looked at. So if I come to the main, I can go ahead and make all those changes here. Anyways, thank you very much, and I look forward to our next video.